I'm here to talk about 10 scale with this guy over here, Tony Newland of Klinik RC. That guy down there, RC Kevin. This is 10 scale. Like we're actually doing a podcast dedicated to 10 scale, but it was a great race this weekend, and we are trying to report more on races. So hey, welcome to I guess we're going to call this the Monday night wrap up of the weekend. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, let's drop that intro. Fuck. No.
Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. Well, tonight, 10 Skill is paying the bills. So I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great, and this is the NNRC podcast. And he's been on the podcast before, but to my left is, we've become good friends. We talk about RC every day now, Tony. It's crazy. And then I introduced him to Kevin down below because we're just going to watch this race together. They have a bromance going on now. But we're all together because these are my 10 scale friends. I leave all knowledge of 10 scale to them. But we had a great race this past weekend in Florida at the Florida Carpet Championships. So I figured, hey, let's get these guys on. Let's talk about it. Thank you, Tony of Klinik RC. Thank you, Kevin of RC Kevin. What's up, guys, real quick, and then we'll go on and say thank you to everybody.
Oh, not much. Just watched a ton of video over the weekend. The racing was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. How about you, Kevin? How are you? You just did a live, and now you're on here, so thank you for your time.
My pleasure. I raced over the weekend, took a look at the amazing track and coverage. So, yeah, it was a busy weekend.
Yeah, it was. I was watching you guys chatting. I know I kind of wasn't involved too much. I was kind of chilled out this weekend, but
it's
I did.
Opinion love, man.
Yeah, no, but we'll get into that because it kind of, we'll get into coverage and all that type of stuff. But we are here to talk specifically about the Florida Carpet Championships. This is something we're looking to do in the future as well in 2022. If there's a big race that weekend, we're trying to get the recaps in on the Monday, so it's fresh on people's minds. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. And before we do that, I gotta thank everybody. So shout out and say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. All the love that you're showing us has allowed us to be here for 3 years, over 150 episodes, and honestly, we can't do it without you, so thank you to all of the people that listen to the podcast around the world. Also, I'd like to say thank you to all of the patrons of the podcast. Without you guys helping to keep these bills paid, we can't continue to do this, so thank you as well. If you wish to be a patron, you can. The link is in the written description of this podcast. And of course, we have sponsors, and without them, we can't operate it either. So please remember, showing the sponsor some love shows the podcast some love. They are Mayako, Beach RC, High Tech RCD, TNR Fuels, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, JQ Scale Motorsports, Sun City RC Raceway, InvisibleSpeed.com.net, Donathan RC, their charge leads are awesome. Check them out. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, some of the best traction compound in the market. Racecraft USA, Get Pitted, shopjtp.com, Jared Tebow's new shop. Check him out as well. He's becoming a regular co-host of the once a month co-host of the podcast. RCGP D4 is coming. I saw a little preview of it. It's coming very soon, so I'm excited about that. House of RC, So Dialed app. Hey, check out Klinik RC at klinikrc.com, correct, Tony?
Yep, that's it.
Check out their line of products for 10 scale cars, and he's coming out. There you go. He's also got some 8 scale stuff in the works. And of course, my good buddy, RC Kevin, who has joined us quite a lot. I would like to thank him for his time and his effort. If you guys can go to his Instagram, to his Facebook, and to his YouTube, give him a like, hit that follow button. I know he does most of his stuff in French, but
I promise.
he's supposed to be, cross-platforming.
Pretty cool
over.
English stuff coming out.
All right. So, hey, remember, if you guys can show their sponsors some love, it really helps us. Thank you. We appreciate it. We thank them for their support. And 2022 is looking promising, so I'm excited for that. All right, gentlemen. So we decided to have a look at this race because, one, let's just be honest, this is the biggest contingent of Europeans that we've seen come to America in a long time due to COVID. So we had a strong contingent of carpet racers from Europe come over to converge on this, which is becoming like one of the biggest carpet races in the world right now, I would say. In the size of prestige, it's becoming very prestigious, especially to get the Europeans over. It did not disappoint. I thought it was exciting. The facility is beautiful. Let's geek out on this for a little bit. So how we'll start is I always like to talk on the track. Tony, have you been to this track yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't been to it.
Where are you in the US of A, Tony?
I'm in Utah.
Oh, that's a pretty decent drive.
So I'm kind of like in close to California, like probably 6 to 8 hour drive to California.
He's closer to California than any of us. That's for sure.
Yeah, pretty much. Vegas is like 5 hours, so that's
not bad at all.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
So I got to watch this last year a little bit. I think this is, I know a couple of guys in Florida. This seems to be one of the premier carpet facilities in the USA. It reminds me of like an EOS race, man. That's all I kept thinking while I'm looking at this. EOS carpet, EOS style race facility. What are you guys' thoughts on the track? Excuse me. And the actual facility. I'll start with you, Tony.
It looks amazing. It's pretty awesome. I watched the video when everybody was waiting outside, and then they opened the door, like kind of like Reedy over the years. And I think it's Robbie, the guy that owns the track. He was standing out there, and he before they opened the doors, he was like, "We've redone the whole track, new everything." It's like a new facility for this race, so they definitely put a ton of work into it, and it shows. The place is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think when we were first talking about this race, I was like, this is going to be like the Carpet Worlds, I mean, and it's an incredible facility. I mean, I don't even know if I'd change anything about it. It looks awesome. Even my wife, and she's not into the racing itself, but when she saw the video, she's like, that place is beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's great. Looks good. Nice place.
Yeah, definitely. It so reminds me of EOS. So reminds me. Kevin, what about you? You're a dirt guy predominantly. I know you do some carpet. But do you do any carpet racing up there in Quebec?
Yeah, we just had a new carpet track open up at Bego Racing. I think it was a world-class facility. It was amazing to see Euros. I think carpets is the biggest equalizer because, on dirt, there's secret sauce, tire prep, and all that jazz. On carpet, it's high traction. Obviously, there's always a couple of trade secret, but I do think it's one of the best equalizers. You travel halfway around the world, there's a good chance that you'll be in the good window for setups, and it's going to be easy to get on the track. So I do think that's one of the best way to have people travel. It was a huge surface. It was really awesome. I'm curious. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about that later, but carpet, I think it's one of the best ways to bring back tracks. There's people that've been closing down because of humidity, of tenants, and having a rough go at finding the right place to do a dirt track. Carpet's going to be so much easier. It was really interesting. There's a lot of people are against carpet, and it's not real off-road, and real off-road is it on slicks and whatnot. But I do think that opened people's eyes, and it was such a good show and a good quality track that people are like, oh, okay, we can probably do something pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, All right, we might as well just tackle that right now because it's one of our topics for later on. But we can all agree that we think that this is going to be probably the future for 10 scale in the world. I would say in the world, because it's already big in Europe, and that's when I got hip to it back in 2014, and I'm over there, and I watched them unroll and put up a track in 30 minutes. Rostrum, track laid out, and you cannot beat that. And I see that more and more now, like temporary tracks, maybe in church halls, school halls, and stuff like that. And honestly, this is the only way we're going to really grow racing, because one, it's easy to set up tracks, and you can get a different track every week or every time you make a new track. It's less maintenance for the track, for the actual facility, for people, all this type of stuff. People can look. I get it. People like it's not traditional. Well, I don't think we're going back outdoors and going to have spikes and loam either. As much as I would like to see that once in a while, I don't think we're going to get back to that. And I get it. There's people that like clay as well, but as that becomes just more difficult, the tire game is something that people keep just not wanting to be a part of. I think this is just the great, like, this is the way. Like, I'm sorry, this is the way to grow our racing.
Yeah, it's people think they want high grip dirt and they want all this stuff, and when you go to a race that's like that, like you said earlier, or I think Kevin said it, where you show up and there's some secret sauce and all this crap, I mean, that's all the things that they don't tell you when you sign up for high grip, and I've been there, I've seen it, and I've seen guys come here to our track, and we have a way of treating the tires here that works. And if you don't tell them, they're not going to do very good. I don't care who it is. They're just not going to do very good, because it's been honed for so long. They're not just going to stumble on it in a weekend, So yeah, I think the carpet thing, I agree with you, is like the equalizer, because if you're a good driver, like we talked about a little bit earlier, you can be a good driver. You're not going to set the track on fire with lap times, but you'll do really well if you can put in lap after lap after lap, 15 minutes without a mistake. You're going to be a beast in the race. It's not always about that super fast lap. I mean, Dakota killed it. He was running some ridiculous 2-wheel drive lap times, and he held it together, all weekend. I wouldn't have bet that he could, because it's just so hard for that pace, but he did. But there's other guys that made the main, like Brent. I mean, we can all agree he's not a traveling paid professional.
But he made the main over guys who do that for a living.
Yeah. So it's awesome. So yeah, carpet, I think it's the future for the same reasons as it's been the normal in Europe. So
yeah. If you look at the UK, they just race all year round on carpet, and AstroTurf, and that's the only thing they can do. So I think it's like inevitable. It's like people fighting the ruggy bodies. Like, it's inevitable. It's going to happen, but it's going to be a beneficial to our industry and to our hobby. What about you, Kevin? I know you're a big proponent of this as well.
I try and simplify. Well, I try and bring newcomers to RC, and it's funny because I'll touch base on a personal story. 2 weeks ago, so I told you we just opened a new carpet track. We decided to move to not a spec tire, but everybody has to be on slicks instead of being on pins. It's going to be cheaper. And there's this one guy that's becoming a friend now. He practiced 2 or 3 times, bought a 2-wheel, bought a 4-wheel, just was having a really horrible time on dirt because his car wouldn't hook up. It was very finicky. Showed up on carpet, put tires on, then change a thing on setup, and he was able to do laps and have fun. So it simplifies so many things for track owners, racers. It's easy. And, the more and more new chassis are coming out, everything's going for high grip. Like the B6.3 or B6.3D, like even the dirt car is made for high grip. If you want to do it on semi-medium grip, you have to play around with it. And for people in Florida driving at Newberry or these huge outdoor tracks, these cars are complicated to adapt. Like you got to watch what Ray Monday does and Dremel this, Dremel that, push the washer here and play around with so many things. So the more and more new chassis were coming out, the more and more the platforms are easy to get into carpet and a bit more complicated on dirt. You got to play a tire game and everything. So it's less costly for the owner, less costly for a racer, less complicated. So what's left, OCRC was one of the biggest stable in RC, and they're closing down. What is that group going to do? Are they going to change to carpet or try and find a place where they can do dirt again? If I had to put money out of my pocket, I'd definitely do carpet. Mm-hmm. It's easier to build a track, cheaper on track changes. You don't need machinery. It's not dirt, but it's a lot more simple for everyone,
Yeah. I would have to agree. The only thing I think carpet does or Astro does is build, I hate to say this, it builds a false sense of speed elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I've seen many people that really like carpet, but they come to maybe they want to cross over to e-buggy or 8 scale, and it's completely different. And that's fine, but they're just so used to the traction. You know what I mean? And when you get out on dirt, that's the only issue. Now, that's if you really, and that's fine. If you just want to race carpet, that's fine. I'm cool with that. That's the only thing, my only gripe that I have with it. I'm kind of over the hill trying to be a purist and go back to old school type dirt and all that stuff.
You've changed.
Well, I just understand that that's not going to happen. I would love to see it. I would love to see it happen again once in a while, but I just know it's not
going to happen.
Yeah, because guys don't want to get their cars dirty. I just know it. No offense. Not the pink pinion
They don't
crew.
want to get they don't want to get the cars dirty. They don't want to have ruts that throw the car out of the track just for whatever reason. Carpet's always the same. It's always grippy. It's always flat.
Didn't this
it's
track...
the same. It's the same thing for 8 scale and then 10 scale. Why they're going to high grip and treated and sugar this and oil that. It's because it's less maintenance for the track crew and for the racer. So,
yeah, I agree with you there, man. I agree with you there. I believe this track used to be up, and maybe I'm got this confused with another track, but didn't it used to be dirt covered with Astro at one point?
It used to be dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Then it got into clay. Then it got into clay with turf on it. Then it got to black carpet on dirt, I believe. And now it's completely carpet. That's it.
Well, it's good enough. All right, so it's good enough that it got a high international presence this year. I think the best it's seen in any of the years previously. It was getting a good turnout of American racers over the last couple of years. I believe Brock won it last year, and I think people like Aiden went her, and Cavs always go on her, it seems, too. So we had the Europeans come over. I think obviously we had the biggest one would be Michael Orlowski. He came over, carpet specialist. Jorn Newman. Trish came over to do more mechanic work. And we had Martin Bear, Daniel Kobovic.
It's funny because they stated Martin as a Canadian on Live RC.
Really?
That's pretty funny.
Well, Lance did mispronounce a lot of things, primarily Kaylee RC. And I was like, oh man, when Tony hears that, he's going to be upset because I thought he kept saying K-Link. You said Kaylee. But I can understand why he says K-Link. I know why he says it because I thought it was K-Link too at first.
I didn't understand any of it at all. I actually chatted with Michael after that first driver's introduction. I was like, where's the call out, bro? And he's like, I did. So I went back and rewatched it. Yeah, and the best I could make out was Kaylee.
It does look like K-Link, though. It took me a while to figure out that it was Clinic, but it is Clinic. Lance, it's Clinic, buddy. I know you can't get everything right.
I need like a number, like number 7 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had a big contingent. Xray sent their team over. Martin Beyer, Ty Tessman stayed from AMS, Matt Gotzel, and Daniel Kobovink from Norway, and then this gentleman this young guy that none of us even heard of, even
Mattis.
you two, Mattis, who done very well, and wow, and then it was just good to see the Europeans back over, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
and I started it up USA versus Europe, and I have to say though that I think USA won this run. I think they did.
But they had the numbers too.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look in a two-wheel drive, main, there was only one European, and that was Orlowski, and I think they should be more because they race on this a lot more. That's my opinion. Yeah. So I'm giving this right up. USA 1, Europe 0. That's it. Next race is at DNC. So
completely different guys, completely different surface.
It doesn't matter though. I know,
okay.
I know. But it was great to see this. I think this is Orlowski. Orlowski's been here before. He's done Reedy and stuff like that, right? Yeah. So he had some.
We did the IIC in 2019?
Okay.
2018, 2019. We did that Vegas carpet race, and then he's done several Reedies. Yeah.
Well, I was kind of expecting him to be a little bit better in two-wheel drive, but I think he had a crash in A3, which really, when I look back on it, that's put him in the back, and then it was just hard to get back up, and that really, really hurt him in the overall for two-wheel drive. But amazing talent, man. Oh, wow. I watched him in four-wheel drive and then the two-wheel drive. The Punisher's good, man. He's really good, like really good on carpet. Amazing talent.
Yeah, he had the crash in A3, I think, cost him 3 spots, like on the overall 2-wheel, 4-wheel combined, because Brock and Rivkin, I believe, tied, and Brock beat him on fast round or something. Mm-hmm. And then Orlowski was 1 point behind, and I think that A3, he was in second and finished 7th or something. So I think that single crash cost him top 3 overall.
It was pretty tight though. So
yeah.
It happens.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think he was one that flew off the end of the straight. They weren't calling too many of the crashes out and who did it or whatever, but I saw a Marshall run to the end of the straight right about when that happened.
Just for people who may be watching this video, we are just streaming. I'm just putting old mains up on her. I do not own the rights to this. This belongs to WC. I don't know, the owners of this, whoever owns this on Live RC. What did you think, Kevin, as a fan coming to see so many European guys come over here and race against the North Americans?
It was good to finally see some Euro talent. It was good to see Ty too doing a bit more 10 scale. It's good to mix the pot too. So it was good to see different talent. It was good to see them finally come out. So world is almost going back to normal. But yeah, it's really good to have multiple talents. And again, I think if you're going to travel abroad or go somewhere, I do think carpet's the best option. Like you would ask me to spend a couple of grand to fly out to whatever race. Am I going to have the right tire? How am I going to have to prep them? What's the setup? Everything's so particular to every track, which this body just bring gear diff, oils, and a couple of parts because you're going to hit the wall and smash your car, and what tires work, and that's it. You know, I do feel it's so much easier. So hopefully it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's a.
Oh, I think next year you're going to see a lot. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how I can fly there next year, because I'm really going to try and be there next year because it was amazing. So we'll try and do some English French content for you guys. Yeah,
that would be great. I think also you're going to see a lot more Europeans come over next year. And
probably.
Because this is going to just be a race that's on the calendar that has to be done. It's going to be, I think it's just going to end up being like a DNC or really, what, carpet version where you just have to.
Are we going to see finally the Viking come back on carpet with his new 10 scale program?
Yeah, I have no idea what 10 scale program he's going to run. So he is serious about doing 10 scale racing. So we shall see. And just not that. I mean, I had a buddy, my buddy Brady. He's from up in the Pacific Northwest, and he went and did AMS. He did like the whole RC, like a 2-week RC life. He went and did AMS, and he made the finals up there. Congratulations to him. And then he went and did this right afterwards. And he made the finals in the Indy race as well. So not just for the pro guys, like some guys made this a complete RC trip. AMS, Nitro, and all that stuff, and then this. So works out pretty good.
A couple other guys from the Northwest did the same thing.
Yeah.
Joseph Johnson and another, I think. Yeah, he did the AMS, made the mains, and come out here. Yeah.
Logistic-wise, this must be pretty complicated to pack everything.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I wonder how they got everything done from, if they flew from Pacific Northwest on. They might have drove, too. But it's good to see that, man. That means that this is races. That's perfect. Like, you can get your Nitro fix and then come in here and do this. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? All right.
What's your thought on only a 2-wheel and 4-wheel drive? No stadium trucks?
It's not enough, I don't think. Are
you there?
Yeah, we're here, Tony. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
So what's your thought on no stadium trucks and no other class in 2 and 4-wheel?
I'm fine with that. Gets to be too much. I think they did it right. They capped it at like 240 or 250. Mm-hmm. And everybody got, I think, decent amount of practice. I think they even had practice after the races one day. I don't know. None of the manufacturers really support truck. I mean, honestly, I think Rivkin ran truck at the Nationals, and that was about the only pro, so he won. But I don't know.
Dakota actually won it, I think. He won 2, 4, and stadium truck, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, but even at the Nationals, it's just not a lot of people, you know?
Yeah. I think this is more, like you said earlier, like the EOS. They run 2-wheel, 4-wheel. That's it, you know? So there's no more EOS. So maybe this is the next EOS type of race, even though it won't be a series.
That race is over.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to one of the other big topics. Open tire, first time at this race, right?
First time at any U.S. race, as far as I know.
So explain the significance of that, please, Tony. This is something that you brought up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it adds another element, and it allows the pro guys to run their sponsors' tires, and I think it pushes the competition for all the brands in the end. I wanted to see it because I wanted to see all the tires duke it out, basically, and see who is the best. Everybody says they're the best. Let's see, and it was pretty impressive to have one brand win 2-wheel and one brand win 4-wheel. So it is kind of split. Like, yeah, they are all pretty good,
Yeah, but everybody has their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
So I do think that the fuzz bite is like the new thing compared to foam tires. It's amazing. But I do think that Proline and Shumacher have something very different for 4-wheel front, which other manufacturers don't have.
Yeah, they just recently updated the 4-wheel front too, so it's kind of newish. But yeah, there's different theories. Like the J Concept fronts are more like a rib, like a stagger, and swaggers or whatever, and so that's more of like a straight ribs.
Wedges.
Go ahead.
It was wedges. So
yeah. And then the Schumacher, they have some of that, and then they have pins, so it's kind of like in between tire. So it's interesting to watch all the different designs run side by side. Some of them are off pace by a bunch, and some of them are right there. So it's kind of interesting that way for me at least, you know.
Yeah, it looked like it's. I mean, Dakota Fenn was on J Concepts, and then obviously Orlowski was on Shumacher. So we did have I guess they're the two top carpet brands of tires in the world right now, I would guess, and then Proline would have their stuff as well. So
and Hot Race too.
Oh yeah, Hot Race was there as well. I forgot. Yeah, this is their
Rossby too.
Well, yeah, we forgot about them. Wow,
Yeah.
so there is quite a few. Well, not as many as it is in dirt, but there's definitely some contenders here for which makes it also simpler too. Not so many companies involved. So, what were the J Concepts guys going on, and what were the Shumacher guys going on? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I think the two-wheel, well, pretty much everybody was on Fuzzbite, which is their new micro pin tire.
Mm-hmm.
For Shumacher, I don't know. Tony would probably know.
Cactus rears, Fusion 2 fronts on 4-wheel, and then they actually had a new 2-wheel front tire they were testing.
Okay. Did anybody hear what maybe Hot Race was running, or they don't have carpet tires yet, right? Or they're still developing them?
They do. They have a front and a rear for buggy, but maybe Ty had new things there. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. Ty. All right. So I have to give some love to Stock Class, or as we now call it, as we're trying to change the name. That's one of our missions in 2022.
Wait. Before we get into that, because I know Tony's gonna probably get in on his soapbox, and
No.
I just want to close the tire issue. So the pro guys had open tires, and I checked with the organization because I wasn't super sure. So the tire rule, and I'll quote what they respond to me on Facebook. I don't know who controlled their Facebook page, but it's super cool, and I chatted with him. So the tire rule for expert stock classes, I don't think that should be a name, are no slicks, no foam tires, and tires must be carpet pin tires. And for Indy classes, it was for Indy tire. Well, let me start that over again. For Indy classes, it was a handout tire. Mm-hmm. That was not complicated to say.
J Concepts tire.
Yes.
Yeah. And no additives at all.
Really?
Like no on any tires. Yeah. Yeah.
How do they police that? Can you just see it more on carpet, or?
Yeah, you can see the groove when people are saucing and using additives for sure. Yeah, and actually, I noticed that Sunday, and there was no groove whatsoever.
Okay.
I was kind of watching maybe to see if there was going to be any groove, even though there wasn't additives. I wasn't sure if the black carpet would have a groove anyway, because the races that I've been to with black carpet, there's always been additives. So it's a sauce soupy groove, so it's obvious.
Okay, yeah,
does
you
it
can't
make
really
a
see
big
that.
difference on pins?
It's a hard thing to describe. So on carpet, in my experience, this is just my experience, if you run on a carpet track, the tracks that I've been to that they run sauce consistently, the track has a groove of sauce around the track, all the way around the track. So in the sauce and out of the sauce, obviously, is way different condition. So you get right back to the super high bite dirt scenario where the groove's this wide and the carrots are everything outside of that, meaning you're going to spin out. So I don't like sauce. Myself, I don't like sauce because I like races like this. Just like you said, Kevin, you can bring half a backpack full of tires and you're dialed for the whole weekend. That's it. Take the brain damage out of it, you know? So
literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
It is so much like, if you don't know if you're on the right tire or sauce or prep or anything, dude, it's going to mess with you all weekend. Even if you are on the right stuff, you know?
Yeah,
so
it's crazy. I'm all right with the handout tire for the indie guys too. Saves them a little bit.
And everybody has to play around with wear.
Yeah.
I actually did 2 official carpet races, and it was like my 4th race ever. I showed up to a JC race, drove from Montreal to Chicago. That was a 16-hour drive, and we only run mod here. So I wasn't aware of what stock was. So I showed up, and I was in the same heat as Alex K, who lapped me 8 times in 5 minutes. So anyways, that was one hell of a story. But it was a handout tire, so you just have to play with where are you going to put, when, and it's very equal, especially for guys that don't want to dump like $250 of tires on a weekend.
And this track with no sauce, so it's the same every time you hit the track.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can make changes to your car, you know, definitively if that helped you or not. You know, it's just, I think it's just so much better. Yeah.
I would agree there. Spec tire for Indy for them guys.
Yeah.
Open because I'm coming to. All right, so that's gonna segue into my next thing, because I know this people's been beating my brain about this, but I can see that I watch stock, or as we're gonna refer to it as spec mod now, because we're trying to change the name. That's turn his name spec mod 13.5. Man, these guys are good. Like, they're fast. It's exciting, and there's a lot of young guys. I have to bring up Brendan Schimmel because he's the one guy that I've noticed. He hit the stock. He hit the stock races hard this year. I talked to him and his dad. They obviously have a track there over in Coastal and all that stuff. But I love this because I keep saying this. Like, 10 scale has everything that I want. It has the spec mod class would be intermediate or the amateurs, pro, semi-pro, I would say, almost. Not even semi, but amateurs. We had it here. Oh, open pro would be now mod, which would be what it's supposed to be, the pro guys or semi-pro guys who are just on the cusp of making a living of it. Spec mod will be stock, which is stock now, and then stock would be actual stock, like, you know, and not making your car lighter and all that type of stuff. But I have to give this, and I have to shout out to my boy Joey Fisher. He was right. Like, the stock class is banging. Like, there's like all these young guys racing in it. You know, I watched, like, all I'm thinking, I'm watching these Florida guys down there, and a lot of Puerto Rican guys came out because they do a lot of carpet racing on there. And I'm like, I want to see these guys battle against the Midwest guys, and I want to see them battle against the SoCal guys. So we can have some seriously good stock racing here. And, okay, I am not an enemy of stock no more. I still think it's pink pinions, but I'm liking it. I like it. It's definitely a great stepping stone. Go ahead, Kevin. I got you.
I have a weird feeling, or either I might be completely off, but I find it weird that there's guys getting paid in stock racing.
I agree with you, but it just is what it is.
And again, it goes back to trying to be inclusive for everyone. So we've been playing around with names on group chats and stuff like that. So let's start at the bottom. I do think, and I think On-Road does it quite well, there should be a spec motor for sportman level guys. Guys that are going to the hobby shop should not be competing between the guy that's going to drop $200 on a Trinity certified 5% and the other guy that says, well, I worked all summer and $200 is like 2 weeks worth of pay. I'm not really sure I want to spend $200 in this hobby wing or Reedy motor or whatnot. $100 is enough for my mental state. And then they jump on the track at the same quality of racer and they're completely off pace. Again, I'll refer to what we've been doing at home. For our stock class, it's a spec motor. Mm-hmm. Everybody has the same motor. Yeah, they're not always perfectly the same, but the Reedy motor is super durable and they're pretty cheap. So that I do think that they should be like a way or a level to reduce costs for actually the person that pays full pop at the hobby shop. And if you want to jump to expert stock, well, either you have some sponsorship or you have talent or you have a bit more money that you're a bit more of a serious racer.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tony. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just real quick. I agree with you 100% on that, though. I agree with you.
I'm still on my soapbox on Tony. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
So at Nationals, the 4-wheel 13.5 class was like a couple of tenths off the mod guys.
Yep.
That doesn't make sense.
Well,
So I don't know. As far as the Nationals this year, that track's super high grip and it's really tiny. So unlike this past weekend, the Florida track is pretty big track for 110 scale. So the differences were larger, I think. But I have a whole spiel on the open stock / novice stock, whatever, pro stock, paid stock. So like Keenan started out the open or pro class, let's just say pro class. That would be your Cavalieris and Mayfields and stuff like that. There's a thing that I've only just seen here. It might be elsewhere, I don't know, but I've just seen it here where we call 17.5 spec mod. So the people that own the track and everybody around here, we've kind of been around for quite a while, so we remember the brush days. And a 17.5 now, we've pretty much all agreed on is like a 12 triple, right around there back in the day. So we quit calling it stock and we call it spec mod 17.5 or spec mod 13.5. The only classes that get the stock tag are 21.5 two-wheel drive.
Open motor?
Yeah, open motor. But no, the gearing is spec. So you can only run like a whatever pinion and whatever spur.
Why do this?
I don't know.
If you're locked on a gear ratio, you're definitely going to have a bigger HP with a better motor. As where with a cheaper motor, you can overgear it and try and be as fast-ish.
Sometimes we haven't seen that, though. We've seen different motors win and different speeds. So it seems to be working out pretty good. I think when they ran the 21.5 in the J Concepts races a year or two ago, they had a handout motor. Yeah. I believe that motor, that Hobby Wing motor, was a lock timing motor.
I actually raced that class.
Yeah.
It's a fixed ratio per track. Yeah. So depending on how the jumps were, I raced that class at Beach RC, and Brent does everything super big. So we had a huge jump and they were testing to make sure that you were able to do the jump. Yeah. But it was, everybody had a motor that were already teched by Ron Schur, and they gave you a 32, 72.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And that's like our stock class here. Okay. And then they do 21.5 and 2-wheel, and then they do 17.5 and 4-wheel.
Oh.
And you kind of think at first, you're like, oh, that's going to be stupid. Dude, it's freaking awesome. So when you start out in novice and then you make that next step, before they introduced these two classes, it was 17.5 2-wheel and 13.5 4-wheel. Like the guys you see at the Nats. We have two stock national champions that live here and race every weekend, and they run 17.5. So you're going from, hey, the RC's cool, I've had a car for a year, and then you're racing these guys, and those guys never stuck around. So this stock class that we call stock now is a stepping stone. And guess what? Those are the biggest classes week in and week out. Now they get the new guy, they get him through novice. He can drive around now pretty good. They move up to these stock classes and they race every week and they stick around. They have 3-4 heats of each class every night.
Interesting.
And then we still have the spec mod 17.5 guys, because that class has morphed into its own thing completely. It's not mod and it's not stock. So it's kind of in the middle. So that's my take on it. The track I proposed a 21.5 spec class a couple of years ago when I began importing LRP stuff. And we never really got to that point where we had an LRP stock spec motor in that class. But he took those classes and ran with it. And it's doing awesome. Yeah. Killer thing for tracks.
You see, we do something very similar to that, but with a spec 17.5 Reedy fixed timing motor. So it's probably as fast as your 21.5 roller motor, but that's what we did. We had so many newbies that wanted to start racing.
Yep.
But what's the best way to start racing? It's 2-wheel drive buggy. And our only option here was mod. So put an 8.5 in a 2-wheel drive buggy. Yeah. These guys are not going to have fun.
No.
So by having our spec class, if I can say, there's a bunch of new people that would have not have stuck around driving mod because it sucks. Yeah. So we now have four heats. Last Saturday we had 4 heats of open 4-wheel drive, 3 heats of 2-wheel drive mod, and 3 heats of spec motor. So it's thriving. And the worst thing is, we have 2 guys that race the same car in the both classes. After 3 race, one's top 5, the other's top 8.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that people can race these cars and go at a decent speed, you know?
Yeah. And it provides that step that we had years ago. So a brushed stock motor was so slow, you know? I mean, just painfully slow. You weren't making jumps. You had to totally change the way you drove. And we left that step behind somewhere. I don't know if it was like early 2000s, like not in early 2000, but I mean like 2010 or something. Like that kind of just disappeared all of a sudden. Nobody knows where it went, but it disappeared. So I've seen these classes and I've seen the people come and I've seen them go over the years, and they stick around with these classes now. Tires last forever. Like, it's a real learning class. Learn your cars, learn how to drive. It's a process, you know? I mean, you hand somebody off the road a car like this and they have no idea what they're even looking at. You know, it's a lot to absorb in just a few years too, you know?
I would agree there. I would agree. And you know what? I think if you're really competitive in spec mod, which would be the stock class that we watched yesterday, I think your goal should be to run mod. But at the same time, I mean, if you kind of want to stay there, you kind of stay there. Like, maybe your goal isn't to be a pro at the same time, but it would be good to see more people moving up. But I'm kind of to the point where I just don't think we're going to see that, because it's just... Well,
and how much room is there for paid guys?
No, there isn't much room at all. So,
but they're getting paid. They're getting paid in stock. So are they going to stick in stock? Make?
No, they're getting paid
semi-pro money.
What's getting paid though? Are we talking $200 a month? You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's getting paid per se. I mean,
yeah, you're right. It's not living wage.
It's not like a salary. It's commission off motor sales and stuff like that they get.
That's not a life ambition, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I agree.
All right. So let's talk about, once again, we had the veterans show up. I guess we have to say, I'm going to start off Dakota Fenn. How good is Dakota Fenn right now? Man, coming off an impressive, dominant win at AMS, comes here to Beachline on carpet, and we're all like, hey, is he going to be good on carpet? Oh, yep, he's good on carpet. He's good on everything, it looks like. The Phenom is incredible. TLR kind of, like, for me, TLR is the most improved brand. I know you're AE stalwart, Kevin, but I have to give TLR. They went from 2018 when I saw the Nationals, like, I thought they were going to be dead, to, like, we are now back as TLR, and, hold our beer. We are here.
and you know what? Their 2-wheel drive buggy is really renowned to have decent grip on dirt. But these guys took it to the carpet and they had a dialed setup. They they weren't messing around. Cav was almost as fast as Dakota, and Brendan was doing really well. So they definitely had really good cars.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick a team before the race, they probably, I don't know, maybe third or fourth pick. Seriously, because at the Vegas race, I don't think anybody got more packs than Cavallari in practice, dude. Every time I looked at the track, he was on the track, and Gil was there, and Frank was there. The whole team was like grabbing his car. They would change stuff, put it back out. I mean, it was just like they were making the best use of every hour per day, and they still didn't quite have the pace, but yeah, they showed up at this track with pace. I mean, holy cow.
Mm-mm.
Dakota's 2-wheel lap times, dude, were like, what? He had the fastest lap times until Orlowski in the last couple mains in 4-wheel. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, amazing. I'm agreeing with you, man. TLR won this. Like, I'm sorry.
They killed it, yeah.
Yeah, you had Ben came second in 4-wheel drive, Cavallari in third. I know we saw, everybody's questioning Cavallari, but I'm telling you now, like he's getting it, and he's going to be faster next year and winning stuff. It took him a year to figure out the S-Works, and now and like you said, they got the whole team focusing on these guys.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. Just look, Brandon done well. So, yeah, I honestly thought we was going to see like the Europeans just come in here and dominate Xray and Shumacher, but super surprised at TLR.
I didn't think that would ever happen.
Okay.
I was expecting Spencer to be a bit more upfront. He did well, but I was expecting him to be everywhere.
But he's been where he's been all year, and that's third or fourth. He's been third or fourth at most races in 8 scale.
Which isn't bad.
No, it isn't. For him, he wants to win, obviously. You know what I mean? He's a racer. He wants to win. But he's been the most consistent racer this year. He's had constant – he's not won, but he's had constant top threes. So
I was expecting Ty to do better too.
Me too.
Especially having Xray on carpet is rocket ship. I don't know if it was tires. I don't know if it was having driven on carpet and I don't know how long. I was curious to see him where he ended up.
Well, I just think where he ended up 7th in 4-wheel drive, and then
I'll find it.
I got it here. And then it was 7th. He finished 7th in 2-wheel drive and 7th in 4-wheel drive. So I think my biggest surprise here was also Mayfield had to bump, I believe, from a B main to this race as well in 2-wheel drive. I think he had a bump with Brent and to 2-wheel drive from the B main.
Yeah, 4-wheel drive I think was Jorn and was it Ty?
Oh, let's see.
Was it Lee? It was Lee.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay.
Let me find it over again.
I know Jorn bumped in the B, but I can't remember who else.
Jorn was. They don't show it here. Okay.
Yeah, it was Jorn and Ty.
Ty, yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Ty, not a big carpet racer. He's been to this race before, though. Apparently.
Yeah, he was there last year.
He was there last year. I think Xray is probably the team that I'm most shocked at this weekend. I thought they'd be up a little higher, and with the team that they bought over, Martin was extremely dude, for that guy, he's older now, and he's still really good. You know what I mean? And even though Jorn did not make the 2-wheel drive, man, his drive in 4-wheel drive, the last A3 was amazing. That guy's so fast. Another jack of all trades. So it's just, but I mean, we just can't count out. I always say, the cream rises to the top, and here we have Cavallari and well, we have to say Dakota Fend is a veteran now as well, and these guys are still just winning or doing well. I mean, it's going to be hard. I mean, obviously, Brock came second. This is a race that he won last year, or the overall, so another good result for him. But these veterans in America, man, they're just these guys that race 8 scale and 10 scale, I think they're showing that they're still going to be the fastest guys when it comes to 10 scale, like just guys that do 10 scale specific, I think, my personal opinion.
They're racing all the time. So I do think that at some point, if you have enough mechanics, enough help, you just need to race. Doesn't matter what, you're just trying to learn and practice different style. And as long as you have a remote in your hands, it's good.
Yeah, a lot of these guys can just take a car and put it on the track, and in 3 laps, they're turning hot laps.
Yeah, it's
I've
amazing.
seen it.
They'd probably be as good as in on-road and oval racing.
Yeah. It's just amazing, man. And I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. I mean, Mayfield maybe is not on his 10 scale program as much, but he's still making these mains. And I think whatever he decides to do for 10 scale next year, he'll just come back out swinging. But I have to give it to like Kev and guys like Jorn Newman, because he's a veteran, and these guys. And I'm a bit surprised at people like Dustin Evans. I always say this. I don't know. I'm not getting on him. It's just one of the 10 scale guys that does 10 scale early. And I just feel he should be higher up at these races. You know what I mean? He should be in the top 5 at least. And I don't even think he made the 4-wheel drive main. So a little bit disappointed for him. But man, are we seeing a 4-way rivalry here between these companies? Because you do, but think about it. You have AE versus TLR in America, right? Then listen. You have AE versus TLR in America, and then you have Shumacher versus Xray in Europe. And now Schumacher's coming over. I want a 4-way rivalry here. We have it.
There's always been a Schumacher Xray rivalry, so that doesn't need to be fertilized. It's already growing like a weed.
I heard.
I'm pretty sure Brock is gonna start a rivalry with Schumacher versus whatever other brand.
The whole rest of the world. Yeah.
But I mean, now that they're coming over there and AE and TLR are competitive on this surface, are we gonna see this? Are you gonna see these 4 companies go at it?
It all depends on distribution. Sorry, I cut you off on that. It all depends. I don't think AE or TLR is distributed as well in Europe, and Xray is doing pretty good in the US, but I don't think Schumacher has the same. It has a good potential, but I don't think it has the same industry backing or distribution or network.
Not at all. Yeah, it's a. I think it's driven by the events. Now we don't have the EOS. That's really detrimental to our viewing pleasure, I think.
Is it done? The EOS is done, or just for COVID?
Well, there's problems with the organizer and venues and things like that. There's still some residual COVID limitations going on over there. I heard the last on-road carpet race they ran 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had to get sanctioned by the FIA in order to be able to have the attendance of all the racers.
Because it's indoors, yeah.
Yeah, so there was some sort of crazy stipulation there. If they didn't get a sanctioning body to back them, they wouldn't be able to have more than like 20 or 30 people there. So they had to do that. And so they're still, we're not quite 100% out of the restrictions. So I think the rivalry, this would be a good start to some sort of series race, but it's hard to do that with international people on one continent. You know what I mean? So I think it delivered what we were talking about, those kind of like carpet worlds,
Yeah, but you know what? Real quick, Kevin, before you go on, I know a lot of the USA guys like go into 8 scale tracks, the Warriors. Oh, well, that track's been there, they say, for 20 years. This eliminates that. So it would be great to see more Americans go over, and when things are clear, to go back over to Europe and race. We can't use, because I know people's going to say, oh, the Worlds is going to be hard because it's in Spain and they're used to that track and it's a different track, which is the truth. It is. It's completely different from anything we see in America. But the carpet takes all of that out of that. And it kind of creates that equal field, and it would be good to see these guys go over there where carpet racing is big, like really big, and go race over there. All right, Kevin, sorry, go ahead.
I didn't have anything to say for once, so I was just listening.
But it's just good to see, man. I was so shocked. Like, honestly, I did not expect TLR to be as good as this. I mean, but
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, it's just crazy. like
not to try and knock on them, but they did really well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was shocked though. I mean, AE sent a pretty big contingent there. We had Cole Toller. There was no Aiden. I talked to Aiden. I said, "Hey, dude, why aren't you at this race?" And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm going to the race in Cleveland." So, I don't know. I think and then like Dakota goes into 2022, wins the last big Nitro race of the year, wins this TLR goes into 2022 on a high note. Period.
And he had such a rough start to 21.
Yeah,
that's really good for him.
He must have listened to us on the podcast. I know Barry Baker did. He did. He was.
Does he say dumb shit again?
No, he was like, he was. You guys are crazy. Dakota led that from start to finish. Mayfield would have never. And he likes to. He listens to it, and then while he's listening to it, he's talking to me. So, but he enjoyed it. Man, he goes into. I think 2 racers go into 2022 on a 3. I think you got Dakota Fenn, who can win. I think he's showing that he can win anywhere if his car lasts and he doesn't fend himself. Mayfield is extremely hard to beat anywhere. And I'm telling you guys, and I'm a fanboy of his, but I'm telling you that Cavallari is figuring it out. I'm telling you. But that's the help of TLR, the whole team. You know what I mean? That's what he needed. And that's kind of not what he had. I got in some flack for saying S-Works didn't have that. But they don't. Like you said, they have Frank Root there that can do the 10 skill stuff. Then they have, what's the guy name? What's the gentleman from TLR does all that 8 skill stuff?
Ryan
Dunford.
Yep.
Dunford there to help him out. And that's that's going to be key for TLR in the future.
Yeah, they have the manpower, that's for sure.
That is definitely for sure.
That's for sure.
All right.
I think when they went back and signed Cavallari again, that changed their intentions big time. Mm-hmm. You know, before it was mostly Dakota. Who else was big with them for a while?
They had like Tanner Dandy for a while, I think, but not that big.
Yeah, I think when Mayfield ran him, he ran it and stuck around for a little bit after that. But yeah, it was pretty much. I mean, for the most part, the pro ranks, it was on Dakota's back every race, you know. So I think when they went out and signed Cavallari, that really said like, we're not going anywhere. Yeah.
We're here to race.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, because I see Kevin's getting tired and it's getting late here for us. Sorry. I have to comment on coverage. My buddy Danny Paz and his buddy did this. I have to give them credit. What they were trying to do, the production was great. When you look at the replays of the video work, it was great, you know. But unfortunately, we was not able to witness. They fixed it on Sunday, I believe. But for like Friday and Saturday, just internet issues, which is something that happens all too often at one of these races. I don't know if they took their own internet, but I would like to see this group of guys go work with Dave's group of guys, and then they can make something really good at these race time races. And I'm sure for next year he's going to be planning to have his own internet and have better stuff, because Danny does really good. Like, he's good and he does good pictures and all that type of stuff. I want to take him to DNC with me, not to stream, just to take pictures. I can applaud them for what they were doing. The coverage production was great. The internet was just it was so frustrating, because I wanted to watch this race and you can't. When it's like, I'm like, I can't watch that. I can't watch that. Like, you know what I mean?
And then it would kick you out. And then you're watching a qualifier from yesterday, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I think the effort was there for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the effort, everything was there. They were just missing that last little cherry on top of having some killer internet.
Yep. How about you, Kev?
You know what? I know you guys wanted something better, and we wish the internet didn't screw up and whatnot, but it takes so much, so many people. I wrote in our pre-show. It takes a village to be able to do quality content. And if the internet starts sucking, there's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're trying to do content, something else is happening.
It's difficult.
Like that's the last thing, and you're going to love that one because I'm going to tee you up. I don't think a track should be responsible to be creating content because it's so much work outside the organizing, outside of this, outside of that. There should be independent media that would be able to cover everything. And I know this rocks your boat, but it's still, there's no way. But the people there shouldn't be responsible.
There was independent media coverage. Like Dany was working on his own. The only thing the track had was the internet. And that's what they were using, and that's what messed up. He should have had a backup, but that's what happened. He was independently there, but he was not obviously he's doing the streaming because he streams a lot of races in Florida, and it was just him and his brother, I believe. And then obviously they were working with TJ and then guys to do interviews. But they needed manpower. He needed to have Jacob and Dave there. They needed 2 more people to do their job properly. And
one more thing. I don't know if Lentz does 10 scale pretty often.
He doesn't.
I think he did a pretty good job. It was a different pace than what Scotty does, but it ran pretty flawlessly, I think.
Yeah. I like Lance. We just got to get his pronouncing Klinik right and all the European names right.
Orlinski,
yeah. But he probably gets so excited.
That was an ongoing joke between me, Michael, and his dad all weekend.
Excuse me. I applaud Dany and his efforts. WRCE, check them out. I think they'll definitely be even more prepared for next year, but what they were doing or attempting to do with the internet was good. It was really great. Lance needs to get him up to these race time races and work with Dave, and then we can get that production quality that we want,
And I totally agree on the it needs to be an independent news and content of the event for sure, because that's definitely not the track or the RDs.
Oh, I agree there.
They don't sign up for all that, and we've talked about, the absence of Neo Buggy and all that. So for people that are into the RC and want to see what's going on everywhere, it's absolutely necessary, but it's a huge bite to take for someone,
It costs money. It costs money too.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It costs money to send people there. I've seen what Neo Buggy used to charge.
His camera and mice and all that jazz. He had several thousands of dollars in equipment.
Danny's really good though at what he does. And I've seen what Phil used to charge to go to races. So it isn't cheap. You know what I mean? But you have to go get your costs paid, and people need to make money at this. If they don't make money, they're not going to do it anymore. So
and that equipment ain't cheap. You got to replace it. You break it. You lose it.
Man,
don't worry. I just want to see. But this is the thing. There are other options to having a full live RC crew there. There are other options that can be used and cheaper.
This is pretty good for 2 guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna finish this off on 2 questions, and I kind of touched on this. I'm still lost at how the guy Mattis Benin can run stock and expert and pro. You kind of explain it to me, but I still don't see it because it's kind of like intermediate. An intermediate guy running pro at one of these races, pro and intermediate. But can we just run over that real quick? How he's allowed to run stock and mod? Or
well, I think it goes back to what Kevin was saying about stock guys getting paid. Mm-hmm. In the expert classes, which he ran expert 13.5 wheel, that's considered
semi-pro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these guys have sponsors basically. So it's kind of in limbo right now in America, where it's kind of like we talked about DNC. If you run intermediate, you can't run pro, but at this race you could. So it's kind of it's up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But what would this guy be running in Europe? Would he be running mod?
There would be no
there's
stock.
no really stock.
Yeah.
What did you say, Keenan?
I don't think there's any stock like that.
There is. They do 13.5 2-wheel and 10.5 4-wheel.
Mm.
Trish actually won that EOS championship or, whatever. But it's very small, and it was fairly new when they started doing it, and then COVID hit. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But yeah, he would be running mod for sure. And he made, did he make the 4-wheel main?
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, dude's legit,
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't even know who he was. But yeah, he's legit.
Somewhere. Hey man, carpet racing, it's big. Just doing it out there in Eastern Europe. All right, and I know because this was a question that you had on the pod, Kevin, and Max answered it, and I wanted Tony's because he's a bit more in touch with it. Is mod dying?
Yeah, for sure it is. You can look at the Live RC statistics, that they put out every month or so. And actually, this was a drill that I put Jurgen through when we were importing LRP to try to display to him how important stock racing was over here. Like, Europeans don't even understand it. Like, why, but over here, it's about 70% of the overall entries is spec racing, whatever class it is. It's a spec motor class. So your open classes are, I would probably say 20% because you have about 10% maybe that's novice or something, or another class. So, yeah, it's huge. Mod's been fading for a long time. Once the tracks started going to high grip, sauce, warmers, all this nonsense, that was like the last dagger almost in modified, in my opinion, because not only is the car hard to control, but now you have this huge variable of tires, where before, as long as you had, whatever the tires are, the ellipse, or, if you had one of those tires when we were running tread, you were good. Once the tires broke in, you were good. But this whole new saucing thing, I think it put another dagger in modified. I've raced for almost 30 years. Next year will be 29 years. I have exactly 0% want to run mod. Just doesn't appeal to me. It's too much work for the amount of enjoyment for me. I don't enjoy it. So the spec stuff is a little bit better because you can show up and still have a good time, but you don't spend as much effort, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But I think it's on dirt mainly. Maybe mod's doing well on carpet or turf. But once in a while I'll pop into a track that I know or somebody I know that's club racing that night, and I'll go and check it out. And it seems like the mod entries are really small. Yeah. So
it's unfortunate, but I get it. It's like me when I was trying to tell JQ, like, we need to make a truggy. He's like, truggy sucks. I'm like, yeah, but it's like in the biggest market and people want it. Yeah. So you got to do it. Exactly. It's hard.
Yeah.
All right. I think we plan to do this for an hour. We've been doing this for about an hour. It's getting late. Any final thoughts before we move on? You can go ahead with this one, Kevin. You're first.
Appreciate it. It was a fun race. It was a world-class facility. The layout was amazing. Everything was just top-notch. So I was so excited to watch it. I want to try and make it next year. So that's it. And I know the COVID restrictions are much harder in Europe, so I hope the guys are going to be able to go back home without too much issues. But it was amazing. It was a blast to watch. I hope the guys can keep doing good content like that. And the track is just really, really amazing. So I'm really looking forward to try and make it next year.
Sweet. Go ahead, Tony. You can reiterate your final thoughts on the race.
I totally agree. Yeah, when they opened the doors there on, was it Thursday or Friday for practice, I was like, wow, this place is. I've seen it before. I've seen it in the videos, but I think they covered it a little bit better this year even than last year. I think the camera panned around. You actually got to see the facility. They walked around even sometimes. And that's cool. I think that's important for the track so people can see, like, what's the place like, you know? And yeah, awesome place. I think they could have a huge carpet race there, international, like this, but maybe open it up to 300 entries or something. I think they can do it. I think they ran it good enough.
They were done on time. They were done early.
Yeah. It was good time. But I think they're keeping it under control on purpose, which is good. It was fun to watch. Yeah, it was cool. It was fun. I wished I went now.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm liking carpet. 2 races that I want to go to that are 10 scale are this race and Masters of Dirt, because that's completely different, and I think the vibe there. But I think next year you're just going to see more international participation. And
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot. Like, you might see people like Coelho and Runner Falk and these other fast carpet guys coming over to compete, and that's just going to make it even. Anytime that these guys get to race together, I'm all about it. Anytime that the international and Americans and anybody else get to race, I love it, and we need more of it. So kudos to everybody at the facility, to Dany, Pez, Lance, everybody that put this on. I thought it was great, and thank you, because it was all free to us too. So we can't even complain about that. The only thing was the internet, but and I think people need to kind of see that inevitability that carpet is gonna be what keeps 10 scale alive and like, look what they do in England. They put a race right in a mall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can do that with carpet. So
yeah, huge. Yeah. The biggest mall in Europe. Yeah.
Huge stuff.
I think most of the people that cap on carpet don't run carpet, or they never tried it, because once you leave all that tire nonsense behind and you take tires out of the package and you bolt them on your car and you go to the track, who's going to hate that? Who's going to miss grinding tires? And
not me. I would never be doing that stuff anyway. You would grind that stuff down for me.
No. So yeah, I think it's inevitably going to grow, period.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's wraps. I think that's it. I think we did a good chat. We did a great discussion on that. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Tony, for your time. I greatly appreciate that. Hopefully we do this some more. I think this might be our 10 scale crew for doing 10 scale stuff, which is great. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to obviously have to say shout out and say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you for all the love. Please leave a like, sub, reviews, anything that you can. Leave it for the NNRC podcast. Also leave that for my boy, RC Kevin. He's trying to grow his brand as well. So hit that
thank you
like, sub button. Tony, just because you're coming on her and you're giving us your time, please go check out Klinik RC. I'm Klinik. You do this for you. www.klinik and tell people what you offer so people can hit you up.
It's klinikrc.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, website. We just do lots of cool stuff. We make carbon fiber stuff, lots of titanium, anodized titanium, turnbuckles, screw kits, tools, wings, all kinds of stuff. So you just have to check out the website. We're adding stuff all the time. We just this week sealed our deal with Maxima. Let me see which way to put that in here. And if you race for any length of time, you know what this stuff is. It's magic. Absolutely magic. So yeah, we just have all kinds of parts that we make ourselves and then stuff that we sell also. So
yeah. And if
guys, his titanium screws are awesome. The X fits really well, nice and deep head. That's what she said. Those crews are really, really good. So go and check them out.
Yeah. And thank you, Tony, man. It's not K-Lee or K-Link. It's Klinik.
K-Lee.
I seriously, when I saw that Orlowski was a team driver and all that stuff, I was convinced this was a European brand.
Yeah. That's the reason why I put a flag, American flag, on the Facebook page.
There you go.
Because I had so much inquiries from Europe, and they would be like, oh, the shipping's like $30, you know, I'm just in Spain. And I'm like, well, I'm not just in Spain. You know?
Yeah, sure.
So,
sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you to all the patrons of the podcast. We can't do this without you guys. We greatly appreciate your support. And of course, thank you to all the awesome sponsors of the podcast. Remember, showing the sponsors some love shows the podcast some love. They are Mayako, Beach RC, High Tech RC, Techno RC, TNR Fuels, Lugs Racing Tires, JQSM, Sun City RC Raceway, InvisibleSpeed.net, Donaldson RC Charge Leads, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, ShopJTP.com, RCGP, House of RC. Check out the Sold Out app. Check out RC Kevin. Check out Klinik RC. Guys, I think that's it. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody before we sign out here?
Thanks. It was fun. Hopefully we'll do it again.
Kevin's falling asleep here.
No, I was expecting Tony to talk, so I was coming him off, so I was waiting for him to talk.
Hey, this is good, though. It's good.
Well,
we didn't cut each other off much this podcast. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kevin. Remember, everybody, Nitro's the glory, E-Buggy pays the bills, and 10 scale stock, apparently, in America. So, yeah, I'm sorry.
Bill. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, pays a bill. I am sorry. I'm not apologizing, but I'm apologizing to the Pink Pinion crew. And, yeah, it was good. Let's hope this race grows, and let's hope we get to do some more 10 scale stuff here in the future. I think that's it. Lefty, Tony, and RC Kevin. You guys are out, man. You guys are out. See you guys later. Have a good one.
See ya next time.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. We greatly appreciate all the support and love from you, the listeners. Without all of you, none of this is possible. Special thanks to our patrons on Patreon. If you wish to support the podcast further, you can at patreon.com/NNRC podcast. As a patron, you will receive early releases, special content, and patron-only giveaways. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, www.nnrcpodcast.com. Remember, Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. If you aren't having fun, it doesn't make sense. And if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty out. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory.
so bad.